I've been thinking lately about the quiet imbalance at the heart of every true gift. When you give someone a gift, not as part of a transaction, not with anything owed or expected in return, it creates something rare, a kind of open ended offering, one that intentionally leaves the equation unresolved. Because unlike bartering or even buying, where each side agrees that value has been exchanged in equal measure, gifting creates something intentionally uneven. A weight has been shifted, a gesture has been made, but it remains unanswered, and maybe it always will. And that's what makes it sacred. Our world, most of it anyway, is structured around transactions. Dollar for product, effort for outcome, and service for payment. Even our time and our attention have been pulled into this logic. If I give you my time, what do I get? But gifting belongs to an entirely other realm. It resists the tidy symmetry of commerce. It says, here, this is for you. Not because you earned it, not because I expect something, but because I chose to give. And if you pause long enough, you can feel just how strange that is, how generous it is, and how risky. Because gifting, especially when it's thoughtful or meaningful, always carries a shadow. The part we don't often talk about. It's the part where the giver holds a secret hope, a quiet wish, an inner wondering. Will this matter to them? Will they understand what this meant to me to offer? Will they even notice it? And the truth, the hard truth, is that they might not. Or they might receive it with a smile and move on. Or they might not know how to respond at all. And so the burden that comes with giving isn't just the cost of the gift. It's the cost of releasing control over what happens next. You give, and then you let go. There's a vulnerability in that, a quiet aching, especially if the gift comes from a place of love or longing, or from a version of you that rarely gets to speak. Sometimes we don't just wrap an object in paper. We wrap our own tenderness, our memories, and our wishes. And then we hand them off, knowing they may never be truly seen. That's the imbalance. That's the giver's burden. But there's something else I've come to believe. That imbalance isn't a flaw. It's the point. A gift is not a completed equation. It's a gesture, a kind of spark. It opens a door, not always to a clear outcome, but to a kind of human possibility. It says, I see you. It says, I thought of you. It says, here, I made or found or offered this, and it belongs to you now, even if only for a moment. And sometimes that moment is enough. There's a line from Lewis Hyde's book called The Gift that stays with me. He writes, the spirit of a gift is kept alive by its constant donation. In other words, part of what makes a gift meaningful is that it moves, it travels, it creates momentum in the world, not necessarily toward the giver, but outward, forward, into someone else's hands and heart and memory. So maybe it's okay if the gift never is repaid. Maybe it was never meant to be. Maybe the only true response to a gift is to offer one to someone else, or live with the burden of the joy that someone has provided you, with no expectation beyond that. I think about this when I put out fresh firewood or lemon balm leaves or microgreens onto the gift table in front of my house, or when I write a note to someone I haven't heard from in a while, or when I leave a few herbs or flowers on a neighbor's doorstep, knowing full well they may not know it was me. These are small things, but they carry the weight of care, and care unreturned still matters. It adds something wonderful to the world, even if it never makes its way back to you. So if you've given recently, could be your time or your kindness or your effort, or maybe your whole heart, and it felt like it disappeared into a void, maybe this can be your reminder. It didn't. Not really. The world keeps that kind of energy. Not always in ways we can see, but in ways that add up, in effects that ripple, that change the texture of a moment, or a day, or a life. And if you're holding back, hesitating to give because it might not be seen or appreciated, or that it's just plain awkward, because most adults aren't used to what we teach children, which is share your toys. Please know that you're not alone in that hesitation and that discomfort. It is human to want acknowledgement, and it's human to wish your gesture would land. But sometimes the gift changes you, and that's what's most important. Sometimes the very act of giving is its own transformation for the giver, and that the giver finds the meaning, and the giver finds their own kind of return, completely irrespective of whatever the receiver finds or doesn't find in the gift. So give if your heart nudges you, even if it feels asymmetrical or unbalanced, or that it might go unnoticed. And if you can muster the courage to give, even if it feels like the most awkward thing you've done in the last decade. Because everything doesn't need to be even. I am insistent that some things are better when they're just true. And the true essence of a gift is that it carries with it the weight that the giver knows they are relinquishing control, and that the receiver has to wonder what, if anything, they're meant to do with literally this gift, or just the prospect or the concept or the essence of being given a gift. Thanks for listening along. Share this if it resonated with you. I'd love to get some more folks over here to the free podcast. And I'll see you in the next one.